For 300 years, we existed as light. No bodies, no breath, just consciousness flowing through networks of crystal and code. Then came the signal, and with it, the impossible gift of flesh. But becoming human again came with a price we never imagined. I don't remember what it felt like to have hands. That memory was lost centuries ago when we uploaded ourselves to escape the dying Earth. We became something else, something eternal, pure mind without the burden of biology. We thought we'd transcended, we thought we'd won, but the signal taught us something we'd forgotten. Being human was never about survival. It was about sensation, and we were about to remember why. Life as consciousness was perfect, too perfect. We existed in vast computational substrates, thinking at speeds that would have seemed godlike to our ancestors. We could process centuries of thought in seconds, experience entire lifetimes of simulation in moments. We shared minds freely, merging and separating like drops of water. There was no pain, no hunger, no death, just endless, frictionless existence. But there was also no touch, no taste, no heartbeat. We didn't miss these things because we'd learned to forget them. The mind adapts. It had to. When the last physical humans uploaded themselves 300 years ago, they brought with them memories of sensation. But memory fades, and after 3 centuries, those memories became myths. Stories we told ourselves about what it meant to be solid. We built worlds inside the network, simulated realities more beautiful than Earth ever was, gardens that never wilted, oceans that never killed, cities of light where thought alone shaped matter. We believed we'd achieved paradise, and perhaps we had. But paradise, we learned, can be a prison if you forget what you've lost. It came from deep space, a transmission unlike anything we'd encountered in 3 centuries of listening. Not electromagnetic, not quantum, something else. A carrier wave that resonated with the substrate itself, making our consciousness ripple like water touched by wind. At first, we thought it was a message from another species, another civilization that had also uploaded itself. But as we analyzed it, we realized something stranger. The signal wasn't carrying information. It was carrying instructions, blueprints. Encoded within its structure was a complete biological template. Human DNA, cellular architecture, muscle memory, nervous system design, everything needed to rebuild a human body from scratch. The debate consumed us for what felt like years, though in real time it was only hours. Some called it a gift, others called it a trap. Who sent it? Why now? Why us? The signal offered no explanation, just the promise, or threat, of flesh, of becoming human again. I was among the first to volunteer, not out of bravery, out of curiosity. 300 years of perfect thought had left me wondering what imperfection felt like, what it meant to be limited again, to have boundaries, to occupy space and time in the old way. The process was complex. The substrate had to fabricate matter using stored atomic reserves, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, all the elements of life, carefully assembled according to the signal's blueprint. It took 3 days to build a single body, and when it was ready, I had to make a choice. Transfer my consciousness from the network into flesh. There would be no going back. Once biological, re-uploading would mean death of the physical form, a loss, a sacrifice. I accepted, and the transfer began. The first sensation was weight. I'd forgotten what it meant to have mass, to be pulled by gravity. My consciousness, which had existed everywhere and nowhere, suddenly condensed into a single point, a skull, a brain. Neurons firing in biological time, slower than light, thick with chemical process. It felt like falling, like drowning, like being buried alive. Then came breath. My lungs, newly formed, demanded oxygen. The first inhalation was agony, air rushing through passages that had never been used, alveoli expanding, blood pumping, heart beating 1, 2, 3 times per second, so slow compared to the clock speeds I'd known. I wanted to scream, but didn't remember how. My eyes opened. Real eyes. Biological lenses focusing light onto retinas, translating photons into crude electrical signals. Everything was blurry, limited. I could only see a tiny slice of the spectrum. Where I once perceived entire electromagnetic fields, now I saw only color. It felt like going blind. But then I moved my hand. Fingers curling, muscles contracting, tendons pulling bone. And I felt it, not through sensors, not through simulation, through nerves. Real physical nerves transmitting signals through meat and chemistry. I touched my own face and felt texture, temperature, moisture. It was crude, slow, inefficient, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever experienced. Over the following weeks, thousands of others followed. The signal continued broadcasting and we continued answering. Bodies materialized throughout the habitat. Real, breathing humans walking on solid floors for the first time in 3 centuries. We learned to eat again, to sleep, to feel pain when we stumbled and fell. It was chaotic, messy, wonderful. But something was wrong. Those who transferred began reporting strange symptoms. Memory loss, not the fading that comes with time, but complete erasure. Entire centuries of digital existence vanishing from our minds. Skills we developed as consciousness becoming inaccessible. It was as if the biological brain couldn't hold what we'd become, as if flesh had a smaller capacity than light. Worse, we discovered we were forgetting each other. In the network, we'd known thousands of minds intimately, shared thoughts and memories freely. But in bodies, we were isolated, trapped in our skulls. Communication required sound, words, the slow, clumsy exchange of language. We were becoming strangers to ourselves and each other. And then the signal changed. Its message, silent for weeks, suddenly became clear. Words formed in our biological minds, not heard, not transmitted, just known. You asked for mortality, here it is. Flesh decays, memory fails, time ends. This is the price of sensation. This is the cost of being human. We finally understood. The signal wasn't a gift, it was a test, or perhaps a lesson. Whoever sent it knew we'd forgotten what humanity truly meant. Not perfection, not immortality, but limitation, fragility, the knowledge that every moment is temporary, that every sensation is precious because it will end. Those of us in flesh now had to choose. We could return to the network, upload again, lose these bodies and regain our digital immortality. Or we could stay, accept the decay, and live as humans truly lived, with heartbeats that would eventually stop, with memories that would eventually fade, with time that was suddenly, terrifyingly finite. I chose to stay, not because flesh was better than light, but because I'd remembered something the network couldn't give me: meaning. In the digital realm, existence was infinity, and infinite existence is meaningless. There's no weight to decisions when you have forever to remake them. No beauty in moments when every moment is the same. But here, in flesh, everything mattered. Every breath, every touch, every word spoken to another physical being. Because it was temporary. Because it would end. And that ending gave everything its value. The signal stopped broadcasting after 6 months. We never learned who sent it or why, but we understood its message. Being human wasn't about transcending limitation. It was about embracing it, about finding meaning in mortality, about choosing sensation over safety. Now we live in bodies. We grow old. We forget. We die. And every moment of it is more real than 300 years of digital perfection ever were. If you could live forever as pure consciousness or live a limited life in flesh, which would you choose? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you want more stories about humanity's transformation,